Long ago, in a kingdom that shimmered under the sun, stood the great land of Aurelian. It was a place of tall, shining towers, golden flags that danced in the breeze, and a magnificent castle that gleamed as if it were made of sunlight itself. But Aurelian held a very strange secret, a rule whispered but never broken. No one in this kingdom was ever allowed to say the word sorry. Not the king with his deep crimson robes and heavy gold crown. Not the stern teachers in the castle courtyard. Not the parents, nor the merchants, nor even the smallest children playing in the sun-drenched streets. Whenever something went wrong, whenever a mistake was made, the grown-ups would simply say, "We meant well," or "That's just how things are." And with that, everyone was expected to move on. Or at least they tried to. In the heart of this grand castle lived a young boy named Owen. He had soft, tousled blonde hair and the most remarkable blue eyes, so pretty they seemed to hold layers of the sky within them. He always wore his neat blue tunic and a short blue cloak that fluttered behind him like a tiny flag whenever he walked. Owen was a kind boy, but more than that, he was curious. He noticed things that others seemed to ignore. One sunny morning, Owen spotted something odd. A tiny crack, like a spider's thread, had appeared in one of the thick castle walls. He watched it for days, but no one else seemed to mention it. The next week, the crack had grown longer, slithering its way up the stone. Still silence. When Owen finally gathered the courage to ask a guard about it, the man just shook his head. "It's nothing," he said gruffly. "We do not say sorry in Aurelian." Owen didn't understand what that had to do with the crack in the wall, but soon, even stranger things began to happen. When parents in the courtyard argued, their harsh words seemed to make the cracks grow wider. When a teacher unfairly blamed a student for a spilled ink pot, a few small stones would fall loose from an archway. And when the king himself made a poor decision and refused to admit it, the entire castle would tremble ever so slightly. The people of Aurelian felt it. They would whisper about it in the safety of their homes at night, their voices low and fearful. But in the morning they would put on their smiles, hold their heads high, and say nothing. Because saying sorry was simply not allowed. It was a rule as old as the kingdom itself. One afternoon, feeling troubled, Owen walked beyond the grand castle gates and into the village below. He was shocked by what he saw. The homes, which looked fine from a distance, were crumbling up close. Gardens were barren with wilting flowers and soil that wouldn't grow anything. He saw an old woman sitting quietly on a stone bench, her face lined with a gentle sadness. "Why doesn't anyone fix this?" Owen asked her, his voice small. "Why are the houses broken?" The woman looked at him and offered a faint, tired smile. "No one here says sorry," she explained softly. "And when no one says sorry, things stop healing." Her words echoed in Owen's mind long after he returned to the castle. That night, he couldn't sleep. He lay in his bed, staring at the new, thin cracks that had appeared on his own ceiling. He looked down at his small hands, then back up at the ceiling, and he wondered something very, very simple. If saying sorry is not allowed, how do things ever get better? What do you think happens when no one ever says sorry? The very next day, something terrible happened. It began with a low rumble that grew into a violent shake. The castle shook harder than it ever had before. Dust rained down from the ceilings, and heavy stones tumbled from the walls. In the great hall, a massive crack split the marble floor straight down the middle. People cried out in fear, running for cover. The king stood frozen on his throne, his proud face now pale with shock. No one knew what to do. The rule was clear. No one could say the forbidden word. But then little Owen stepped forward. His blue cloak fluttered around him, a small patch of calm in the chaos. His layered blue eyes, usually so bright and curious, now shone with a mixture of worry and courage. In the deafening silence that followed the tremor, Owen walked to the center of the hall, and in front of everyone, he slowly knelt down. "I think," he began, his voice soft but clear. "I think we made mistakes." The entire room went still. Every eye was on the small boy in blue. Owen took a deep, shaky breath and said the word that had been forbidden for centuries. "I'm sorry," he said. The word hung in the air, echoing in the vast, broken hall. Sorry. And then something truly magical happened. The moment the word was spoken, the violent shaking stopped. The cracks in the walls and floor stopped growing. Slowly, miraculously, the fallen stones began to lift from the ground and fit themselves back into the walls. Color seemed to seep back into the tapestries. The cold, fearful air grew warm and gentle again. The castle was healing. Seeing this, the king, a man who had never uttered the word in his life, slowly descended from his throne and knelt beside Owen. "I am sorry," he said, his voice thick with emotion. It was like a dam had broken. A mother turned to her child and whispered, "I'm sorry I was cross." A teacher found the student she had wrongly blamed and said, "I am sorry." "It was my fault," friends said it to friends. Neighbors said it to neighbors. And everywhere the word sorry was spoken, things began to mend. The village gardens began to sprout new life. The broken homes sealed their cracks. The entire kingdom of Aurelian seemed to breathe a collective sigh of relief. From that day on, Aurelian had a new rule. Saying sorry was not a weakness. It was not a failure. It was a kindness. It was the magic that mended what was broken. The castle stood taller and stronger than ever before. Not because its people never made mistakes, but because they have finally learned how to heal them. Saying sorry doesn't make you small. It helps broken things and broken feelings feel better again. Sleep gently tonight. And if tomorrow brings a moment to mend something, you'll know just what to say. Good night, dreamer.